The clamor for impeachment continues from the Democrats. President Trump sets off a firestorm against himself by his announcement regarding Turkey. And there's a growing move among Earth worshipers to limit the number of babies that people have. And they're starting, yes, you would guess, in a poor country. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the program, friend. I truly regret having to spend so much time on this because the premise of impeaching President Trump over this discussion he had with the president of Ukraine is bogus. It's a lie. It's a hoax. Like the Russian collusion with President Trump to steal the election was a complete hoax. It was a fabrication made up by the people who are accusing the president of the deed. The same is happening right now. Some people are calling this Russian collusion 2.0. Some are calling it Kavanaugh 2.0. But this is right out of a playbook. And the reason it grieves me is because, not that I'm not willing to do my duty. I will do my duty as a broadcaster and as a Christian leader. But it grieves me because of what this is doing to our country. This is going to drive people further and further away from each other. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. There is a place in the Bible where Paul said, "It is necessary that divisions rise among you, so that those who are approved by God might be shown forth." Jesus said, "I didn't come to bring peace, I came to bring division." In another place, he said, "I came to bring a sword." So there is a place, and my only hope is that my grief is ill-placed and that we should, well, we can still grieve for what's going on, but we can look at it saying that this is something that is necessary. Because the enemies of holiness, the enemies of righteousness, the enemies of the right to life, the enemies of the institution of marriage, the enemies of the Second Amendment, they're all in. They're all in on this impeachment baloney, bullcrap, garbage, whatever you want to call it. They're all in on it. And it's possible, please God, let it be so, that their demonic plan will backfire against them. Now, the wild card in all of this is President Trump himself, the unlikely hero, the playboy, the philanderer, the man on his third marriage. And there's a lot of people in the Christian community, especially in the Catholic community, who are not willing to let President Trump be president. They want to analyze his every move over decades of business, decades of speeches, decades of personal behavior issues. And it's not that those things are unimportant. But if you look in the Bible and look at Cyrus or Artaxerxes or different judges that God used in the book of Judges, if you look at the split of the kingdom with Rehoboam, if you look at who God used at different times in history to effect his will, especially during times of turbulence, especially during times of division, some of them are unsavory. Some of them are divided in their own soul. Some of them were pagans. I don't think President Trump is a pagan. I think he's a flawed man. I know that I'm a flawed man. I think he's a flawed man. And maybe his flaws are worse than a lot of ours. Does it matter? Does it matter regarding the policy of defending our southern border? Does it matter regarding the policy of protecting a baby's life? If someone was going to rescue one of my kids from drowning, and I was saying, help me, and they came to help me with the rescue, I would not stop saying, wait. I heard you're on your third marriage. I don't think that I can let you help me save my child from drowning. Wait. You're very bombastic and you're rude and you call people names. I don't want you helping me save my child. Let my child drown. No, I don't want your help. It's ludicrous. It's stupid. No one would do that. So part of the problem is that many of us in the Christian community, and certainly in the greater public at large, don't recognize the danger. In other words, if a child is falling into a fire or falling into a body of water and is drowning, we recognize the immediacy of the danger. I think that there's a lot of us who don't recognize the immediacy of the danger that America is in. We're in trouble, friends. And does anyone really believe that Jeb Bush would have shown how the Chinese were taking advantage of us? Does anyone think that Jeb Bush would have created a list of pro-life candidates? That Jeb Bush would have fought to protect the southern border? That Jeb Bush would have publicly stated the things about the threat of Islam? Go down the list of things that matter in time and eternity. And I can't think of any candidate who ran for president in 2016 that would hold a candle to what President Trump has done and is doing. And maybe that's just the way the package comes. Like Jehu, son of Nimshi, that rideth furiously. He's the one who God had anointed to bring down the house of Ahab and Jezebel. Jehu, son of Nimshi, that rideth furiously. God knew the job he had to have done, and he knew the man to pick to do it. It is easier to temper a bold man than to embolden a timid man. President Trump is a bold man. And he's made some bold steps, and I'm sure that there's things he said that you and I don't agree with. Some of it just doesn't matter. We have to understand what is at stake for the Republic and who the guy is that God gave us to fight evil in the Democrat Party, to expose and fight cowardice in the Republican Party, to dredge the swamp in Washington, D.C., to put conservative pro-life judges in the federal judiciary and on the Supreme Court, to try and protect us from this illegal wave of immigration that threatens our very republic. He's the guy. And so when you see someone who's probably demon-possessed like Adam Schiff, fighting and lying and cheating, that's when you know, wait a minute, there's more to this than meets the eye, both in the natural and in the supernatural. I'm going to take a break, talk about Adam Schiff, talk about Turkey when we come back. In case you haven't heard it, Adam Schiff may be the source of a criminal probe himself. Don't go away. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. All right, here's the latest that we have on Adam Schiff, and the story, the true news story, continues to emerge about this liar. And that is that the so-called whistleblower, who ultimately is not a whistleblower because they have no firsthand knowledge. Remember that, a whistleblower has to have firsthand knowledge. The so-called whistleblower went to Adam Schiff's office, met with Adam Schiff's staff, and the question yet remains, did he meet with Adam Schiff himself? Shifty Schiff. Adam Schiff may end up being a material witness, somebody who actually knew the crime, the collusion that was going on beforehand. He has no business sitting over the Intelligence Committee chairing these so-called hearings when he was a part of the process to get the false witness or the false whistleblower complaint. You do know this, right? Now, what's amazing to me, Schiff is a liar, and he was in on this, on a fake whistleblower complaint. The Russian dossier that was used to get the FISA warrants, that was fake. It's very possible that by the end of this week, the Inspector General is going to release the report regarding the abuse of the FISA courts, the spying courts that issued the warrants to spy on President Trump and his campaign. We'll see what happens. It could be that there's criminal referrals in there. But the issue with Schiff is that he's lying. He was actually a part of creating a fake narrative. Now, some people are saying, why? Why are these people coming so unglued? Why, when President Trump touched on the Ukraine button, did all the Democrats go bananas and say, we're going to start these impeachment proceedings? Well, one of the issues coming out is that Ukraine is where the whole Russian collusion fake news thing started. It didn't start in Russia, it started in Ukraine. So it's not just that Joe Biden and his son Hunter were involved perhaps in some unethical business collusion in Ukraine and then in China. It's how many fingers were in the pot. Who knew what, when? What did Obama know? What did Brennan know? What did Comey know? What were they involved in? They got frantic, not when the Mueller report turned out to be a bust. They got frantic when President Trump touched the Ukraine button. It's like when you go to a doctor and he says, does this hurt? Does this hurt? Ow! Then we know that's where the problem is. That's where the fever is. That's where the infection is. So it's very possible that the Democrat hierarchy is going to be exposed. But here's the element of this that I don't know. I don't know where you get your news, all right? Most Americans, sadly, still get their news from the fountainhead of the New York Times and the Washington Post, and as its tentacles come out through ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, and CNN, all right? the New York Times is the tail that wags the dog. If the New York Times doesn't cover something, really cover it, it's not news. And when they do cover it, even if it's fake news, the rest of the media follows suit. So it's not news anymore. These so-called news outlets are Democrat operatives. That's how they're behaving. That's how they're functioning. It's Democrat operatives. So I've been thinking about this. Where do we get our television and radio news? If you do not listen to Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity, myself, Michael Savage, the great one, Mark Levin, Gallagher, Mike Gallagher, if you don't watch Fox News, then if you only watch CNN or MSNBC or the other networks, there's a very high likelihood that you would not know that Schiff was involved in the creation of the whistleblower complaint that is now being used by him to try and impeach Trump. You might not know it. You might not know the details of what Hunter Biden got away with in both Ukraine and in China, because ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, and MSNBC, they're not covering it. They are ignoring it. They're just like they ignored the fact that the Steele dossier, the fake dossier that triggered all of these spy warrants against President Trump and his campaign, paid for by Hillary Clinton. The facts are there. The facts are there. But the major news media is so committed to impeaching Trump or destroying his presidency that they will literally lie by omission. They used to call the press the fourth estate of government. House, or rather Congress, the judiciary, the presidency, and the free press. But now it might be better identified, the press might be better identified as the fifth column. The enemy's from within. And it disgusts me and breaks my heart to say it, because I personally have been in the news as a subject of news for 35 years. Since 1984, I have been more than 35 years in local, statewide, and national and international news. Thousands and thousands of stories written about me. And there was a day when I could be on 60 Minutes or interviewed by Dan Rather or Leslie Stahl or Oprah Winfrey or whatever. And I knew that even though they were against me, there was some strain of decency and integrity in them as a journalist. Even if it was thin, it was there, that they would at least want me to get my side of the story out. That's gone. It's gone. And add, with most of them, not all of them, but it's gone. And add to that Google and Facebook and Yahoo are now manipulating what people see via the search engines when they look for news. We have, thank God for Rush and Sean and for these other outlets that I've mentioned. Because if it wasn't for them, there's a lot of news going on that we wouldn't even know about. And if you don't listen to those places for your news, I highly recommend that you do so. All right, I've got to take a quick break, talk about Turkey when we come back. And the president really stepped in it on this one. I don't even know how this is going to shake out, but I'll give you my analysis. Don't go away.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Well, President Trump announced that he was going to pull our troops out of Syria, the areas of Syria where we are. And this caused a backlash of fury against him from allies such as Lindsey Graham. Pat Robertson went on the air and said, be careful, you're going to lose the mandate of heaven, the help of God Almighty, if you betray the Kurds who stood with us and helped fight ISIS. There are Christians that are there. Turkey hates the Kurds. And Turkey is poised to pounce, and it could be a slaughter like it was when the U.S. refused to help the Kurds after Iraq won. Some of you can remember back to 1991, and once Saddam Hussein realized that we were not going to protect the Kurdish people, he went in and slaughtered tens of thousands of people while the U.S. and her allies looked on and did nothing. That was an evil thing. Now President Trump is saying we're going to pull out of the area. That would pave the way for a Turkish invasion. And they would kill God knows how many Kurds. You must remember that Turkey is a Muslim nation. Erdogan, the president, I personally believe would like to be the next caliph. Turkey, Istanbul, which was Constantinople, was the seat of the caliphate for hundreds of years. The caliphate is like the Muslim pope, only it's way more authority than a pope has in the Catholic Church. It's the political, religious, and military leader of the Islamic world. There's been a caliph since Muhammad died right up until the 1920s. So I think Erdogan would like to be the caliph, and he wants to destroy the Kurds. And if the U.S. pulls out, there's going to be a bloodbath. And the Kurds are helping guard some 12 or 14,000 ISIS murderers, killers. Now, here's what no one has said in the media. This is my question. Because of our rules of warfare, we're not going to just go kill all those ISIS soldiers. Maybe we've broken the back of the caliphate for the time being, the caliph, but those soldiers haven't given up the vision. Maybe President Trump or his advisors are saying, we're just going to leave and let them sort it out. Turkey would come in and kill them all. They would kill them all, okay? And they're going to kill Kurds in the process. And the true issue is, these are people who we armed, we trained, we helped. They fought alongside us, we fought alongside them. And if we abandon them, that is not going to sit well with the American people, and it's going to hurt us all over the world the next time we say, hey, we're going to come and help you and train you and fight alongside you. And they're going to say, and then what, abandon us so that the nearest bully can come and slaughter us? I don't think so. So it's unclear if the president is backtracking completely. Now he's saying, well, it's just those 50 people that were out in the furthest edge, and we're just going to pull them back. But unless the president has some secret plan, which I cannot conceive of, that he just wants Turkey to come in and kill all the ISIS soldiers, I don't know. The issue is this: Turkey's part of NATO. Turkey is part of NATO, the only Muslim nation in NATO. And that's a problem, friends. I'm telling you right now, that's a problem. I've got to take a break. I'll continue with this. Please don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life. Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Welcome back, friend. The president is backpedaling regarding Turkey, but I'm not sure how much. There has not been this much opposition to him from McConnell, from Lindsey Graham, from conservative think tanks, really since the start of his presidency. And I think that the shockwave of that has hit him. I completely agree that we should not pull out of the Syrian area where we are right now, because our 1,000 troops there, that's all that we're talking about, 1,000 troops, prevent Turkey from coming in. And that's literally what it's all about. It prevents Turkey and Russia from coming in, or Russian-backed Iranians, whoever. If we pull out, then those other people are going to say, we're coming in. If they come in while we're there and they kill a few American soldiers, then they know that the full might and fury of the U.S. military will be unleashed on them, and they don't want that. So the presence of our troops there is protecting the lives of the people that are there who have fought alongside of us, and keeping violent aggressors like Turkey or Iran from unleashing hell on the Kurds. All right, in the closing moment, I want to ask you, while Congress is in session, or I'm sorry, while they're on break, they're going to come back and then they're going to take another break. I just hung up the phone with a friend in Kansas and said, look, why don't you hold a demonstration in front of your congressman's office saying that you support President Trump? Get 3, 4, 5, 10 people together, hold up a sign. Stop impeachment insanity. We support Trump. Call the media, let them know you're going to be there, and get some press. Show some support. If you are even remotely interested in this, email me at staff@voiceofresistance.com. Staff@voiceofresistance.com. I will communicate with you. I will teach you what to do. I can't be everywhere, but I know how to help drive the debate. I know how to help drive the narrative. And this is a way for you to have your voice be heard. And finally, if you aren't willing to do that, or you can't do that, and you can support our TV show and our work, our ministry, please go to randallterry.com and make a contribution, or send a check to the address that's on the screen there. God bless you.